Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to How to Scale to Over 7 Figures Efficiently. My name is Colin Mahan. I'm a Director of Programs at the Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center. And for those of you who may not know, the Nasdaq Center is a nonprofit that's building a better path for entrepreneurs worldwide by improving inclusion, access, and knowledge in entrepreneurship. As you may have just seen in the chat, the Nasdaq Center, along with our partner Mentor Cloud, launched a free mentor matching platform for entrepreneurs called Mentor Makers. You can create your own advisory board to guide and inspire you with in-the-moment mentorship from topic experts and professionals dedicated to providing exceptional mentorship to entrepreneurs across all races, industries, and geographies. So find or become a mentor today by using that link in the chat. Mentorship matters to all entrepreneurs. Their success is dependent on it. Quick housekeeping item, we're going to open up our live Q&A at the end of the event, so please submit those questions for us in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen throughout the presentation. Try to get to them all. Now, none of what we do here at the center could be possible without all the amazing support from our sponsors, including Nasdaq, Lehigh University, Bank of the West, Airbnb, KPMG, Wilson Sonsini, Woodruff Sawyer, BPM, and HubSpot. We're humbled and grateful for their contributions. Now, during these still unique times, we're curious on how sentiment is among the entrepreneurs that we work with. So before we get started, I'm going to launch a quick poll to just let us know how you're feeling about your business right now. Are you optimistic? A little bit of survival mode out there? Let us know. We use this to help inform the wellness that we should be providing for our entrepreneurs out there. We do know it's a lonely journey, but we are here as the Entrepreneurial Center. All right, so I'm going to end this poll, share those results. Looks like optimism is in the lead, but understand there's a little bit of survival mode and anxiety out there. So hopefully this presentation will help with that. So without any further delay, please join me in giving a warm welcome to our special guests in the chat, Natasha Miller, founder and CEO of Entire Productions. Natasha, welcome.
Hey, Colin, thank you so much for having me. I am going to find the appropriate slide to share. Can you see that perfectly? Great. Wonderful.
All righty. Good luck and looking forward to learning more.
Great. As far as that poll is concerned, I just want to say that you can actually feel all four of those things at the same time, which actually happens to me often. Oh, I see Mario's here. Mario, I'm so glad you're here. So today we'll be talking about what I think are the top 3 strategies to have in place in order to scale and grow your business. I teach this and more in my program Beyond Your First Million, but for today, I'm going to try to get through all the slides in the allotted time. I just want to thank so much to Colin, Anna, and Zoe, who have been so great to work with from the Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center. It is a sincere honor to be doing this. And if you want to know how sincere and how much of an honor it is, I'd love for you to go find my book, Relentless. It tells you about just how amazing this day could possibly be. I think you probably learned a little bit about me in the sign up registration, but I am an entrepreneur. I have a core business that is a profitable multi-million-dollar business. I've had it for 21 years, and I've been on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies in a row for 3 years in a row. So I actually do know what I'm talking about for today. I'm not just a teacher. I am actually in the business of doing business. The first thing, I think the most important thing, although really out of the 3 that we're going to talk about, they all kind of rise to the top, is focusing on creating systems and processes in your day-to-day business. What the heck does that mean? So a system is a group of processes that are organized to run your business. Can you have more than one system? What do you think? You can. And you probably should. You might have one for sales. You might have one for marketing. You might have one for hiring. And actually, you already have a system and you already have processes, even if you are not aware of those words. What is a process? It's simply the steps you take to get to the end result of a task. Fit together in a progression that is well thought out, they create a repeatable, efficient experience not only for you and your business and your team, but also for your vendors and clients. And if you're only thinking about your own business and not the experience of your vendors and clients, I'd like you to shift that mindset to think of all three pots as just as important as each other. So the first thing that you would do in creating a repeatable process is the following. And if you have something to write with, now would be a good time to get your pen out or open a Google Doc, because I'm literally going to teach you how to do this. Oh, I see we're still seeing slide number 1. Hold on, let me fix that. Anna or Zoe, can you tell me what the slide says in the chat? Okay, so I'll just keep going. However, I do want you to see these slides, creating a repeatable process. Okay, good. That's where we are at. So you're going to outline the steps in order of how you do the various things in the particular system that you're starting with. So using a pen or paper, Google Docs, or even sticky notes, you were not prompted to get those today, but I would say that if that is a good way for you to get organized, you might want to do that. Other people get huge pieces of like butcher paper and set it out and that kind of a thing, because it is a timeline. You're going to do either a number list or an outline, or write on the stickies every single thing that you do step by step. You can also use a flow chart using like lucidchart.com or something similar to that. So let's go back and actually talk about what is a list, make a list of everything you do. For my core business and tire productions, we have a system for intaking clients. So step 1 is enter their account and their client information into our Salesforce. Step 2 would be start a new event for them and collect all the data that they've already given us. So things like that. Now, your processes are going to be different than mine unless you own an event and entertainment production company. But again, you're just going to work through all the things that you already do, and you're going to write them down. Okay. So then you're going to go through the list and identify the things that are working incredibly well. Make sure they're in the right order. Really look for, yeah, this is what we need to be doing. And again, right now, you're actually just noting the steps that I'm telling you about. You cannot do this in real live time because we really only have an hour together, and it's going to take a little bit longer than that. But don't be afraid of this step. It is so important. And some people stop. It's like they have writer's block. They're like, oh, I can't do that. I can't think of it. It's too hard. It is not too hard. You actually do it every day. And what I'm about to reveal to you is going to make a huge difference. It really is the only way you can scale your business. So then you're going to look for things that aren't working. Are they clumsy? Are they inefficient? Do you hear your team saying, ugh, I wish ... So yeah, the things that no one likes, if they are repeatable or take a lot of time, mark them with that, because that is an opportunity for automation. And we're not talking about automation today, but I wish we were. And maybe that could be another session that we do here. So I would use a red pen, make a slash mark, make a minus sign, whatever symbol that will tell you when you go back over this, what isn't quite working, because then you need to solve for that. So you don't want to get rid of anything completely just yet. Take a look at what's working, what's not working, what needs to be added or edited. Document those additions, edits, and think about the flow and how it will affect the people in your business, the clients, and the vendors. For instance, there might be an efficiency or a process that we do in our business that feels really good and makes it easy for us, but the client or the end receiver doesn't really like it. I'll give you an example. One of the things that we do at my core business is that we have an automation set up for when we put an event in the system and hit save, it sends our client the following email, something like, hey, Bridget, it's so great that we're going to be working on your event. Here are the details that we have so far. Can you click here and add the rest of the details that you know? Don't worry if you don't have them yet. Okay, so that's a wonderful, incredible process, right? It saves time, it's automated, it's repeatable, it's low touch. But what if Bridget had a 4-day event or had 10 events in a row with us? Do you think she would think it was quite clever for her to receive 10 of the identical emails, even though it might make our job easier? So when we got feedback from our clients that they were a little annoyed that they were getting these same emails, we made an automation and a process where we could mark that client as don't send those repeatable emails. But we would have never known had we not received that feedback from our client, or we could maybe anticipate this person is not going to want to get that many emails. You're looking for an easier, more understandable process that will increase the ease and positive outcomes for everyone. When you get done with all of that and you figure out what might be missing or what needs to be edited, you're going to document the final system. The reason why you need to document it is that so everyone is on the same page doing the same thing every time. So the training is all succinct and the client and the vendor experiences are the same every time they engage with you. And also, this is a good way that everyone's, of course, trained the exact same way, but they can go back and reference the system if they're stuck. You need to document it. You can't just have it in your head. A lot of our businesses have it in your head, and we'll get to why that's not that great in the future of this. But it needs to also be kept in a central, easily accessed, easily updated solution. So we have used in the past Google Docs, a very simple, really long systems and processes document that links out to special processes or systems. And honestly, that's worked for us for a long, long time. However, we've just migrated our data over to an application called Trainual. It's more expensive, but it has more bells and whistles. It's kind of like a learning management system. And you're able to do like quizzes and see your company individuals track on what they've read, what they've understood via the test scores. And I think also, and I'm not sure about this because I haven't been the end user, they get like celebration and props. Okay. One of the things that you can do is walk through your systems and process verbally with a shared screen or video using Loom or Descript.com. Then you can transcribe that video for additional ease. So if you're not into writing, diagramming, or sticky note planning, that's fine. There's so many ways to do it. There's no excuse not to do it. But remember, people learn and consume information differently. So try to cover all of those bases. As your business scales and grows, these processes might need to be adjusted. I would look at them every 6 months or so, but at least yearly. But to tell you the truth, when I hear friction from any of the 3 groups of people, my team, vendors, or clients, we adjust our processes accordingly. And regarding how people learn differently, I skipped right over that. Creating a video or a graphic to go along with the typed out transcription and the verbal is wonderful. So if people are more, they easily learn from looking at a picture versus reading text, that they can get in on the good news. So this is a quick overview of how it is that you can create a system and process. But again, if you started writing now, there's no way that you could get it done unless you had a system that had 3 steps. So we're going to move on to delegation. And I see this in so many entrepreneurs, both new entrepreneurs, smaller scale entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, but also I see it in my community of people that have $1 to $10 million businesses. Now, after about the $10 million mark, you can't really get too much further without the ability to delegate. And I'm happy to report that I was actually interviewed in Inc. magazine, and I think I can put this in the chat. I'm going to stick it in here for the hosts and panelists to put out for you guys. They surveyed a bunch of the Inc. 5000 recipients, right? The people that were on that list. And we took a strengths finder test. And I scored really high in delegation. They wanted to find out what elements of successful scaling and growing companies and their CEOs, what did they have that put them to the top? And they wrote an article about those different strengths. And one was a spotlight on me in delegation. And it shows the story of how I didn't want to delegate at first. So your business cannot scale at all, nor grow exponentially if you're not delegating most of your tasks of the day-to-day work. If you're just starting out or a solopreneur, that's great. You actually have a leg up because you can start creating this muscle and developing this muscle before it gets more difficult to let go. If you're well into your business, it might be more difficult for you to learn. Oh, Colin, I don't understand. Okay, hold on. I see that you're not seeing the slides correctly. I'm so sorry. I will send the slides to everyone, but it looks like we're on target on my end. Okay, so if you're well into your business, it's okay, but you need to learn to embrace the delegation muscle. But once you feel the power of it and the freedom of it, you'll likely be hooked like I am. So we want to get all that data out of your head and into a document, video, and/or CRM. There are so many reasons why entrepreneurs do not delegate. And you might be able to relate with all of them. The first one is ego. If you love being lauded for your ideas and success, and you love to be in the spotlight, you might feel like delegating will reduce the attention on you. Seeing others be given credit for you for what you built might sting. And I want to let you know that I choose to feel pride when my team is spotlighted for their brilliance and service. It's part of what I built after all. It might take you a minute to get there. Another reason is you might not be aware. I didn't realize that I needed to delegate to become a successful entrepreneur that had a scalable and growing business. I didn't get it. I thought I needed to do all the stuff and know all the things and be good at all the things and be busy all the time. So you may not have ever thought that you shouldn't be doing the things that you're doing for the heavy lifting. Perhaps you thought in order to be successful and be known as the business owner leader, that you should be doing and mastering everything. I would love for that to change today because now you're aware. One of the other reasons is disorganization. If you're disorganized, you can't find what you're looking for on a regular basis, and you have trouble communicating what it is you do on a day-to-day basis, it might be difficult to even consider delegating, but this is exactly why you need to do so nothing falls through the cracks. Here's one of my favorites. I'm guilty of this. It's just easier if I do it myself. It's so common. It may take a little longer the first time. It might not be done exactly as you do it, but does it need to be exact? After you've taught this to someone, they can do this from now on, saving you an incredible amount of time. And if you multiply that, You see where I'm going. Another reason is speed. It's only faster in the moment, but count up all the time you'd save if you never had to do it again. So start now. And then perfection. This is deadly. I think maybe my slides are just advancing for you guys slower. And it could be that it is being streamed. I really don't know. But again, I'll send the slides to you guys so you can have them. Perfection is, I believe, the most deadly. If you believe that something can't be done well, right, or correctly, and that it must be perfect, and the only one to do it is you, then you could possibly have an issue with perfectionism. It might not be an issue if you really don't want to scale your company. And for those of you that want to have a business where it is just paying for your lifestyle, and that's where we get the word lifestyle business, it's totally fine. But for those of you, and I will assume that you want to scale and grow because you're on this, you're going to need to let go. It'll be a big challenge, but the reward will also be really big. So how do you do it? Your mind is a Rolodex of the vendors, clients, systems, and processes, even if you didn't realize you had these in place. It's also full of instances of what didn't work, what is perfect in a certain situation versus another. In order to scale well and create the systems you need to scale and grow, you need to learn the art of delegation. So the first step is to get all of the data into one main system. Now, I used the CRM Salesforce, and I started this in 2013. You don't have to use Salesforce. You can use Zoho or HubSpot. You can probably use other systems. I'm just not as aware of them. And if people want to share in the chat, I welcome that. I created a very significant, specific to my company system within Salesforce, but it allows my company to run without me at the helm. And let me just tell you guys, even after the pandemic, even after my multi-million-dollar business went to zero in March of 2020, I got in there, got my hands dirty, rolled up my sleeves, rebuilt the business to do virtual events while the world was not being able to come together. But after a while, I stopped working in the business day to day. And I'm now only working on the business as the strategist and the visionary for about 20% of my time. It's taken me a while to get there. Maybe you don't have to wait 21 years like I did. I do enjoy and appreciate the experience that I had, but man, had I learned of these things earlier, I would be a little further along. It will also increase the company valuation to not rely on the founder, you as the founder, CEO, for more than 30% of operations, of sales and marketing, and of management. That's when you're thinking about an exit or succession plan. Number two, you would import your list, data, and information and keep in your head, or that is organizational data. I added all of our artists, vendors, and clients into our Salesforce program. Then I tagged them. That was a really important element with the appropriate tags. So, Colin, I'm so sorry. Ugh. Okay, I'm going to double check both slide decks as we go. Okay, all good. So I added all of our artists and vendors and I tagged them. And here's where it gets really important for a business like mine. We send out bands and musicians and talent to big corporate events like Google and Salesforce and such. But when we have thousands of artists in our database, there's no way any one of us can keep them straight. So of course, if we're looking for a band, we can type that into Salesforce and find all the musicians that are tagged as a band. But what if you're looking for a trumpet player, but he's also in a band? That person should have, like Rich Armstrong, let's just use his name. He's a trumpet player, he's a singer, he's a band leader. He also plays, let's say he plays Dixieland. All of those tags need to go with him so that when anyone from my team is looking for something like that, they have the access to that information because you've tagged it. Now, you might have to do this heavy lifting at first, but since I've been doing it since about 2013, most of our data is in our system. And then there's new data going into the system that I don't even know about. It doesn't have to be me and my excellence and my knowledge. It's now a shared knowledge. So I indicated my experience and my inner knowledge to help those from my team understand what functions these people and services had. And of course, now they're updating it. Okay. I think I need to, number 3. Okay. How do you do this? Guess what you get to do? You get to start using your delegation muscle now by perhaps having a VA or someone from your team work with you on this exercise. If you don't know what a VA is, virtual assistant, or you don't know how to source and qualify and get them started, you can let me know after this webinar, and I have another learning that I can share with you. If you're using a VA or someone from your team, you can get on a Zoom with them and describe the information you have. You can do this in various chunks of time. Please don't try to do it all at once. Record the meeting, have your VA download and transcribe the meeting via rev.com or Descript or any other artificial intelligence. It gets about 95% of the thought process through. Have them place the information in the system that you've chosen, and then have them create the processes in which to use this information. You see, I'm getting you to start thinking about, you don't have to do it. By the way, I actually like doing some of these things myself. It's kind of like, not mindless, but repeated tasks that kind of soothe my soul. But I know it's not the best use of my skills, my time, and my brilliance. And really, I'd be starving my virtual assistant or other people on the team from having this experience. Then number 4, anytime that you find yourself doing something that you're not sure you should be doing, you should ask yourself, do I have to do this, or can somebody else? I would define the top 5 things that you are doing the best, that you're the strongest at, the top 5 things that are most important. And then more importantly than that, that you love doing. Then find a way to delegate everything else to other people. And keep reminding yourself, if you start to do something, you can ask yourself, should I be doing this? Is it on the list of things that I'm responsible for? Is it part of the top 5 of my strengths? If not, then who can do it? And I'm going to admit something to you guys right now. I know that I am the expert that is teaching you guys. I am doing all of these things, systems and processes, delegation in my core business and tire productions. But I'm not quite excellent at doing them in my other business endeavors. And as I reflect on why, it's because I'm not an expert yet in some of the things that I'm attempting to do, creating programs, courses. I just wrote a book. So while I have industry knowledge, I don't have the 20 years behind me for that. So I just want to be as honest and vulnerable with you. And I'm going to take the pledge of trying to do these very things in my other new businesses alongside of you. Okay, we're going to head on into people. I would love to see if you see the people slide, because now I'm having a panic attack that you can't see the slides. Yes, okay, cool. Ebony, I appreciate that. Sandra and Florence, thank you. So the third and the last thing that we're going to talk about today is people. I didn't understand this. I'm going to be honest with you, for maybe the first 15 years of business. Now, the first 10 years, I was basically a solopreneur having a lifestyle business. I think I was at $1.5 million in revenue before I started hiring employees. Now, I never thought I would have as big of a business as I had. I thought that I would more be the performing artist. I'm a classically trained violinist and a jazz vocalist. I was touring, playing Monterey Jazz Festival, Yoshi's, and this business helped satisfy the need for more income just to pay rent and bills and such. I never wanted to own a business. It just never occurred to me. But when I flipped that switch, I went full on. And honestly, I couldn't continue to perform at the rate that I was doing and record. So I had to give something up, but I didn't feel like it was giving it up. I felt like it was the building blocks that got me to where I was. Then I started entire productions, really focused on it. Now that I'm working on this 20% of my time, and I really do want it to continue to scale and grow, now I'm working on other endeavors. So I now know, with 21 years under my belt, that people are so important to scaling and growing a business. You can't do it without them unless you have a completely automated company. And man, I can't think of one that could be completely automated and totally hands off. Maybe some SaaS businesses, software as a service. So these are the elements we're going to talk about. The first one is your first impression is the job description. You have to make it count. So to get an A player, and honestly, I think we should all be looking for A players. If you are trying to hire a B or a C or a D player, I might question why. You might think it's less expensive or easier or more accessible, but really, let's think in that A player. I really like the Who method by Jeffrey Smart. He wrote a book called Who, and a lot of what I do in my business that I think is really successful is based on what I learned from him. His father is famous for writing the book Top Grading, which a lot of really big companies use. So it all starts with the job description. This is your first impression. Make sure it's written with intention of wooing the candidate, proving your value, and showing them your mission, your vision, and your core values. Now, if you do not have those three things in place, and you cannot talk about them off the cuff without going to find a document, that is a whole nother learning that we can talk about at another time. But it's really important because those things are going to be the things that attract the right people to you. But if you don't know your mission or your vision or your core values, it's pretty unlikely that an A player will want to come to work for you. Okay, so we're going to focus on not only the duties, right? This is what you're going to do. Job descriptions are like, here are 10 to 15 things that you're going to be doing in your job. Well, that's good, right? That's a start. But we also want to focus on the outcomes. So in addition to listing those various responsibilities, then right after that one responsibility phrase or sentence, write what the outcomes are, right? Do you want the highest top promoter score, net promoter score? Do you want $1.2 million in top line revenue? Do you want, like, you have to say, right? If you said to a salesperson, I want you to make 10 calls every day to, 10 cold calls. Okay, that's great, but you have to be more specific. What is the outcome that you want out of that salesperson's role? So in order to judge candidates against each other, so hopefully you'll have more than one candidate, you need, and their alignment with your company's goals, mission, and culture, you need to develop a scorecard. If you'd like to see mine and kind of cut out some of the heavy work, you can email me for a sample interview scorecard and repurpose it for you. I have a template, and I think these guys can put it in the chat, but it's Natasha at officialnatashamiller.com. And if any of you are wondering why my URL has to be officialnatashamiller.com, it's a funny / very sad story, which I will share with you offline. So the brief overview is You'd have up to 5 questions to ask for each role. It'll be likely different questions depending on the role. So the salespeople will all get the same 5 questions. HR would all get the same 5 questions. Someone you're hiring for admin work would get a different set of 5 questions, but everyone in those singular roles would get the same questions. We want to compare apples to apples. So you're going to take notes, but also you're going to rate their response a plus for good or great, plus minus for neutral, and a minus for not acceptable or not good. And then this is the best interview question formula to use. As you can tell, I'm a talker, and sometimes I talk too much in the interview, and I'm also trying to fix and save the interviewee from hiccups and feeling uncomfortable. This is not a good way to find out if the person's the right fit. So you could say, tell me about a time when, and then ask the question. So that's open-ended, and then sit back and listen to what they say. This is not a time for a conversation. You're not going to butt in and say, oh yeah, that happened to me once, and then go off on a whole tangent. You want to hear their true response to this question without interruption. And then if you want to know more about what they're saying, instead of sharing with them something that you could relate to, you could say, tell me more about how you, and whatever, right? Whatever you're talking about. And then you're going to rate their competencies a plus, plus, minus, minus. So you can see we're building a scorecard. If somebody has all minuses, they're not an A player. They're not a right fit for your team. If they have all good, then they're probably good. If they have neutral, then maybe your questions and your interview process isn't as finely tuned as it should be. But this, you can see, gives you a good overview of what you might be doing. Okay, so now we're moving away from interviewing to onboarding and training. You still need to woo your candidate. You need to make them feel special. So a suggestion is to present them with a goodie bag with swag and snacks on their first day. For us, we have chosen not to do bulk manufactured things. So I have like a nice notebook with our logo on it with their name engraved in it, a candle that we have with hand poured soy wax in it with our logo on it. It's also something that we use as a leave behind. So something that's more meaningful, but honestly, branded swag is awesome. And the way that you present it is also important. As you see on this picture, hopefully you can see, let's see, can we see the slide? Just let me know. Somebody put me out of my misery. Yes. Oh, yes. This is a nice little box. We actually use a little tote bag, a canvas tote bag, and put everything in there. Sometimes I put their name tag in there, their business card. And by the way, we have a really cool new digital business card that if you want to ask me about, you can. We no longer print on paper business cards. Okay, so make sure that you have your onboarding properly planned and scheduled so that they know that they're welcome and that you have a plan of action for them. And make sure that your training is scheduled and that you have a system for them to go through it. And also, it's great, depending on how big your company is, to have them meet with like up to 5 key people. If it's on a Zoom, like a 15 to 20 minute Zoom, or it's even great, and I do this, I have various different people in my company, train them on a certain module one-on-one so that the training gets off my plate, but they also develop a relationship and a friendship with that person. Again, you want everyone to have the same information. Do not wing it. Do not think that Jessica in sales knows everything in her head because she has institutional knowledge and she doesn't need the systems and processes written down. Please just don't do that to yourself. And then lastly, for this part, I really think a 30, 60, 90-day ramp up plan with outcomes for success and what success looks like is a great idea. I can't tell you how many people I know that go into new jobs where they do not have this for them. And again, this is something that I can share with you if you want a copy of that, of what we do internally. The next thing we're going to talk about is the growth plan. Know that to keep a great employee, they need to feel valued, continue to learn, and have access to the opportunity for advancement in the company. Show them their options for moving up in the company, how long it will take, how much they'll make, what milestones they need to achieve in order to make that next step. Give them options for developing their skills with courses and programs. I just gave to my new business development manager the opportunity to take a course on how to use LinkedIn Navigator for leads. The course is about $1,500, and that sounds like a lot of money still to me. But if you think about the advantage it will have for our business, but also for her and her education, and she's also feeling like she's being taken care of. This is really important. You could also consider having them enroll in something like Toastmasters to improve their speaking, or an improv class for sales or customer service. Okay, I hope you can see the next slide. It's the milestone slide. And I'm not sure how many companies do this, but I find this is a little bit of the secret sauce to why my employees know that I care about them. So you can see on the screen, okay, the milestones, excellence, and innovation. And I actually screenshot this from one of my employees last night. And I was so proud that she put up, this is a note from another member, and we keep a milestones channel on Slack. So if somebody hears something said about someone in the company that's good, they put it up there. If somebody has something good to say about an employee, they put it up there. Or if the employee themselves wants to raise their flag and wave it and say, hey, this is something I did, we memorialize and celebrate that. But I asked them to put it on their milestones of excellence and innovation sheet. And here's why. To help them remember their big wins. If you talk to somebody 6 months after something big happens, it's likely they won't remember. To bring with them to their one-on-ones or annual meetings to ask for a promotion or a raise. To add to their resume and skill bank, and to empower them in their growth and career path. And I remind them about every 2 to 3 months, please fill out your milestone sheet. We also use this at our kickoff for the year planning meeting, where we all share various things that I prompt regarding the milestone sheets. So we're getting close to the end. I think we're going to do a Q&A here soon. Yeah, it's Q&A time. This is my information if you'd like to reach out to me. And I can't wait to answer the questions that you have. And I'm so sorry that you didn't all see the slides as they were advancing, but I will make sure that you are emailed them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Natasha. Despite the minor technical difficulty that we all experience on Zoom, it was really great. And everyone was saying this is awesome information. So thank you so much. Before we jump into Q&A, and while everyone's thinking about what questions they may have, one last poll that helps us at the center understand what you'd like to learn in the next couple of months. So Natasha grabs a sip of water. Let us know, which of these topics are you looking to learn the most? Looks like, ooh, they're here for a reason. Natasha, scale is in second place, which is amazing. So thank you so much. And marketing followed by finance. So we'll definitely put that on our radar. But Natasha, there's been some great questions that have came in through the presentation. And to everyone asking for the slides, we'll send those out via email after, so no worries. So let's see, how do you find people to delegate to? Do you infer hiring the personnel to delegate to?
Okay, you cut out a little bit. How do I find them? Do I what?
I'm reading word for word here. Do you infer hiring the personnel to delegate to?
Okay, so sometimes you can delegate to the team that you already have in place. Okay, so if you have one employee or you have a couple of freelancers, you could start with them first if it makes sense. I highly recommend hiring a virtual assistant. And I have 5 different virtual assistants doing many different things, and I hire them all from one place, from one organization. And again, I can give you that information if you email me. I would like to make the introduction for you. But they're all from the Philippines. They're excellent at what they do. Their English is great. They're so happy to be working, especially with an American company. Their skill level is off the charts. And their pay, because the dollar goes a lot further there, is incredibly affordable.
That's awesome. Okay, so for the CRM, do you use one CRM for vendors and sales prospects, or do you have separate CRM for your vendors versus your sales prospects?
I have created within Salesforce this massive, very specific to my company systems and processes. Actually, Salesforce says that we use it in a much more sophisticated way than they do, and have me speaking at Dreamforce about it because I'm their little small business evangelist, evidently. I keep everything in this one system. So CRMs are typically used for marketing and sales calls and stuff, but we use it from the moment a client comes into our realm all the way through when their event, like all the details of their events. And let me give you a secret. We were able to do 777 events in 1 year with 2 people in operations because of the systems and processes we created in Salesforce. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, and Salesforce is a powerful tool. There's a reason they have a tower in San Francisco. Let's see, sourcing and delegating can get really expensive. When in your business should you decide to budget for the additional headcount?
Okay, so when in your business, I didn't hear the end. When in your business?
When in your business should you decide to budget for the additional headcount?
Great. So what I wrote this down because I got some of these questions ahead of time. I would say that you need to create a time and a profit margin of what is the best for you, where you're not a lifestyle business anymore, right? Where does the tipping point happen when you are into profit? And then whatever that is, maybe it's 10% profit or 15% profit. If you can maintain that for 4 to 6 months, then you can start thinking about adding headcount, investing. You may have to borrow money. You may have to get a loan from the bank or a line of credit. You might want to use your credit cards. I would not suggest that because the interest rates are so much higher. You can look at SBA loans. You can ask friends and family. But I think that's a good, safe measure of when to start adding headcount and spending money outside of that income that you're getting.
Great advice. Another question / comment. Thanks for the presentation and all the tips. Can you tell us more about the digital cards?
I can. God, I wish I could show it to you. It's across the room, but there are now people that are creating digital cards that you can just tap to a phone, or if the phone's older, they can just scan the QR code. One of the cards that I have for entire productions are metal, and they have inscribed in it in silver. It's beautiful, entire productions. And you just tap it on a phone and you can program in there what social media accounts, what contact information, and it zaps it right into their contacts. So you look cool, you save the environment, and it's really easy. And you know how many business cards are thrown away. And also, if somebody's title changes or the phone number changes, you don't have to throw away the 500 to 1,000 printed cards that you had designed.
That is such a great idea. And especially with the concerns around COVID-19, I can't remember the last time I took a business card from somebody I didn't know, you know?
I'm not sure you can get it from a business card, but maybe you can.
I don't know. I'm still, like I'm still unsure if I should be throwing elbows at people or high-fiving them. I don't know, but let's see. Dina, a question here around, please explain the 30, 60, 90-day plan.
Sure.
Maybe just high level.
Yeah, high level is, okay, Dina, if you come to work for me on the first 30 days, these are the things you're going to experience. And these are the milestones I want you to get to. And that might be getting to know everybody at the company, understanding the systems and processes, be able to enter the various information in the right places of Salesforce. 60 days could be, you've reached out to 10 people in the month and so on and so forth. And the 90 days for us, we want you to be ramped up and ready to go. And not that you're going to be an expert at that time, but you are more self-sufficient. But you have to be specific, right? And check in with those employees with a one-on-one meeting to go over those line items, check in with them, see how they're feeling, see if they have actually made those milestones. And if not, you can move them to the next month. But if by the end of the third month for my team, if they're not ramped up by then, there's a challenge that I need to figure out.
And it's good to get the clear expectations up front. How do you integrate new ideas from your team into your system that you created in the early stages?
This is the most amazing thing. So yeah, all of this at the start was my idea, but then I really lean on my team and I expect it of them. I remember hearing someone say, "Oh, Natasha, I thought of this thing that we could do differently, but I didn't want to tell you because I knew it might cost money to integrate." And I'm like, "Oh no." As soon as I heard that, I made it clear to my team, if you find something that is repeatable or automatable or that we need to change, please let me know. We can't afford not to honor that thought. Now, yes, I might take it back and I might be like, okay, this could help like 3% of the business and it's going to cost 40,000 to do. Not at this time.
Yeah. I always say I'm not married to any of my processes. So if you could make anything run faster, then I'm more than open to anything. Specific question here, but this entrepreneur is looking to open a new location. Any advice around that process?
Yes. So I will give you an experience share. I don't have a brick and mortar business, business to consumer, but I did open a location outside of San Francisco in Los Angeles with boots on the ground. So I had a sales team down there and a project manager. And I was very excited about that. I thought it would be so great to scale and grow the business. But guess what? I don't think I did the proper market research. And what I realized and learned after a year is that we could do as much business in LA without people on the ground. And also the LA market is not as lucrative in special events as it is in San Francisco. So why would I go into a market banging my head against a wall and working harder? And I don't know if I would have known that had I not done that experience, but at least we pulled back. So we moved those people, the LA people, out of boots on the ground. And we also opened one in London. Whew, if you're going to open another country, good luck to you. I don't have a really great successful experience to share with you. Well, what I would say is I had an employee move there and we were talking about opening like a new franchise or a division, and it was a mess. And we just decided to scrap it. It was too much work.
Yeah. And make sure you get a good lawyer, because I'm sure there's a lot of international business law.
Oh
and
my God.
No
Yeah.
clue.
Currency exchange. Oy.
Yep. Let's see. Back to the delegation portion of your talk. Do you recommend hiring interns in pre-revenue generating phases?
You certainly can. I believe in California specifically, but probably other places, you can't not pay interns unless they are needing it for school credit. And you really have an obligation to teach those interns as much as they have the obligation to work for you. So right now, I don't have the bandwidth and the inclination to take on interns because I understand the responsibility. That being said, I did have interns in the early days, not knowing the laws and the rules and the regulations. I'm not sure they were in place back then, but be careful about how you compensate them depending on what state you're in.
Yeah, that's helpful advice. Question here from Dominique. Thanks for the question. Do you recommend any software for documenting processes, managing employees for a retail business? Salesforce doesn't seem like a great fit for a business like mine.
Okay.
But they like everything in one place.
Okay, so regarding managing employees, I'm on the advisory board of Zenefits, which was just acquired by TriNet. And for me, they're an incredible system for managing employees, hiring. They can do everything online, document everything, payroll. My 401k is housed there. It's an amazing service. And they have a lot of free services that like I'm paying for. Oh, I also do insurance through them. Now that's separate though from the systems and processes of running a business. And I am not sure if Salesforce is the perfect answer to a product direct to consumer or business to consumer. I have a feeling it is though. It's so huge. So I would just call one of their reps and see what they have to say. However, the reps don't necessarily know the full spectrum of what they are selling.
That's great advice.
So I would ask somebody with a similar business what they use.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Natasha, we're almost at time. It's been so great to learn from you.
No.
If somebody was going to dial into the last 60 seconds of this presentation, what's one takeaway that you want to give to our entrepreneurs in the audience today?
I really think that the systems and processes and defining them, as well as the delegation that goes hand in hand, is something that, especially if you're pushing against it, you need to commit to overcoming. And then I'd love to hear from you when you've done that. And I'll just give you a big high five. And then I'll probably see you on the Inc. 5000 list.
Oh, I love that. Well, Natasha, thank you so much for joining us, sharing your wisdom and insights from your own personal entrepreneurial journey. So on behalf of everyone on our team and everyone in attendance, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was great to have you. And for everyone still on, we've got some great upcoming webinars. So we're going to drop a link in the chat for those of you who want to learn more about the other offerings that we've got. We'd love to hear your feedback as well. So we've got a survey link that we're going to drop in the forum. But we appreciate all of you joining. And thanks again to Natasha. We look forward to seeing you all online soon. Thanks again, Natasha.